you no work, man. Now you work. Okay. So, what we gonna do right now? We gonna go back. I need to do this, and we'll just do this, and this, and this, and this. Right? Display one. Yeah. Okay. Stretch this motherfucker out. Boom. And slide that motherfucker down here. Boom. And now we got this bitch. Why am I dinging? What is this thing?
Use the word adult in a sentence. My mama was so mad one time she threw a frying pan at me. Adult.
Oh yeah, I got a motherfucker. Not you. You good? Good, baby girl. I got this over here. Bam. We can watch this cat. See what's up. What the fuck is that? Trying to feed the dog a damn crystal? What the fuck? Boy. Big boy. Trying to feed your dog a crystal? What the fuck? Alright. Let's see what we got popping on this bitch. Kabam. Kabam.
Is it possible to find a human being using only... In 2005, a company known as Mind Candy put together a bizarre scavenger hunt called Perplex City. The main goal behind the game was to find a real-life cube hidden somewhere around the globe. The creators promised a cash prize of £100,000 sterling for the first person to retrieve it.
Perplex City was the first ARG that I actually really got into and played, hardcore played. So the gist of that game is that there's these puzzle cards that are a range of difficulties. Red was the easiest, all the way up to silver, which are the sort of upper echelon of difficulty. From those, there was one that was impossible to solve deliberately. It's the Riemann hypothesis card. And that was an early card, and so it was it's like a little inside joke, right? It's sort of you'll never 100% this, because until somebody solves this mathematical principle, no player is going to actually get that, right? So it's supposed to be kind of like a sort of joke. Later though, they said there will not be impossible cards. And so Billion to One, the card with this man's photo on it, is supposed to be one of those cards that is difficult but not impossible to do. And that was really intriguing to me. The card is laid out, it's a man's selfie, and he's in front of a really distinctive background. And then there's writing down the side in Japanese that says, "Find me." And then there was also a hint line at the time running for this game. And the hint for this card was, "My name is Satoshi." It's very different to the sort of normal styles of puzzle solving, for one thing, right? You can't like pull out a dictionary or a calculator and like solve it on paper. It really requires a lot of work. It's a lot of research and like understanding context. It's about like connecting with other people and communicating with them. And I just thought that was really cool and interesting.
When you're trying to track someone down solely based on a photograph, there's one place to start: the background.
So I didn't end up identifying the background, but players did, and that was linked to Kaisersberg in France. It's this little village. So already, that's actually a lot of information to work with. Kaisersberg in that was really
let's go back a little
cool
bit. I want to see that zoom in.
When you're trying to track someone down solely based on a photograph, there's one place to start: the background.
Okay.
So I didn't end up identifying the background, but players did, and that was linked to Kaisersberg.
Oh shit, that's almost down next to where
France. It's this little village. So already, that's actually a lot of information to work with, right? We looked into the history of that town, and it turned out that there was like a pretty sizable Japanese population there at the time. I'm not sure if that's true 10 plus years on, but definitely like in the time period when that photo was taken, it would have made sense. There's stuff that you can like look at analyzing this man's face. Something that is very identifiable for people's photographs throughout their lifetimes is their ear shape, whether their earlobe is attached to their face, the ear canal shape, like that's something that remains distinctive. So we like looked really deeply into that. He has a mole on his face, features like that, because obviously other things about your face can change. Your haircut can change, your facial hair can change, like you might be wearing glasses or not. But those are some of the things that are not really likely to be any different no matter what time we're actually approaching somebody. So those were the pieces of information that we had to work with in the beginning, which it seems like it's not a lot, but once you start really digging into it, more and more starts to unfold.
Gotcha.
But is it actually possible to find someone purely based on a first name?
Want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on... I'm good, I ain't gonna use that, brother. Appreciate it,
individual from only an image or name. One of them being back in 2007, when a German tourist known as Melanie Speth was travelling across London on the train before encountering an attractive man on the other side of the carriage. She was too shy to approach him, but she quickly snapped a picture on her mobile phone. When she arrived back in Germany, Melanie couldn't stop thinking about the man she was too shy to approach. After a while, she got an idea. Melanie sent out an email to all her friends asking if they could help find this mysterious man. Her message is as follows. Now I haven't neither his name nor his email address because I don't have the trust to speak to him. I have only this one picture, and now I'm back in Germany and I can't forget him. That's why I have this crazy idea. I hope you send this to as much possible that I find him, and maybe to mingle with him if he wants this. The email spun rapidly across Londoners' inboxes before friends of the mysterious fellow discovered his photo on a Metro article. They took the picture and posted it in the office for him to see. They called the press for an interview shortly after.
I will email her as soon as I can. She looks lovely in her picture.
The second story has something similar. Vicky Elborough Cook went to Barcelona for a hen weekend after falling out with her boyfriend.
A hen weekend.
She began entertaining the idea of hooking up with someone else during that time. That's where she met a man known as Gavin. She began flirting with the man, but despite asking for her phone number several times, she turned him down. When she got home, she quickly regretted the decision and decided to write out an email to her friends in hopes to find this gorgeous Gavin.
Hi, I was in Barcelona between the 14th and 16th of July in 2006 and met a guy called Gavin from Kent who was on a stag weekend, staying at a hotel Autohogger. Never go there, it's rubbish. Gavin said he writes I for the BBC. When you press I on digital, a brief synopsis of the program is shown. Now, through playing hard to get, I didn't give him my phone number, though he did ask several times. Please, can you let me know where an I writer would work? It is my utter mission to track down this dude. He's utterly gorgeous, and I was an idiot for acting so damn stupid. Sorry for my randomness, but please help. Thanks, Vicky.
Not long after the email was sent, she received a phone call from Gavin himself. But not
What'd he
because of
say?
the email,
I mean,
but it
what
turns
happened to
out he
fucking
actually got
Asian
her
dude we were
phone
supposed to be
number on
finding,
that
man? What the
night.
fuck?
Unfortunately for Vicky, the email chain had already started going viral. A few days later, a couple of his friends from the BBC told him about it and, well, it's fair to say it creeped him out. One of his final messages to Vicky was, "Why are you stalking me?" before officially cutting ties with her, to which Vicky responded with,
God, get over yourself. If he didn't find that email at all cute, he's not for me. He turned out to be a bit of a loser.
Got him.
So,
Okay.
when it comes to tracking someone down based on an image or name, these
Yes,
two
it's completely
stories have
possible.
one big thing in common. It's a friend of the person that finds out you're looking for them. But the only way you're going to get their friends to notice is through word of mouth, sharing their name and image across the internet in hopes one of his friends will just stumble across the story one day while scrolling through Twitter, Reddit, or even Instagram and Facebook. Just getting the word out there that you're looking for someone proves to be the most effective way to solve a puzzle like this. And that's exactly what Laura did. In hopes to find Satoshi, she made a website dedicated to it, findsatoshi.com, a site still public to this day for people to spread across the web. Could you talk us through the website?
Yeah, well, so I wanted to set up a website because the real challenge of this card is finding somebody that actually knows this person and is able to prove that, right? It seems likely
Is it translated
that,
in other languages, or is
this
it all
person
in
may or may
English?
not have social media. At the time, again, social media wasn't as big a deal as it is now. People were significantly less likely to have a personal profile up on the internet with their face. And also Satoshi is a really common name. So there is information that can be shared with the community in order to enable people to do some of the research and the searching themselves. I also wanted it to be a trilingual search, so in English, French, and Japanese, because we know again that the photo on the card was taken in France, but it's written on the card in Japanese, and then we're playing this game, which is made by a company in England. So the person in the photo could speak any of those languages, we just don't know, meaning that the people who know them in real life could speak any of those languages. All of the background context that people need to know about the card, about the game, just what is the premise, and hopefully that sets some realistic expectations for this, which is that this man is not part of the game. In my opinion, he is a colleague or a friend of a friend of a friend of somebody. So he probably doesn't actually really know about alternate reality games or anything, and was just doing somebody a favor.
She continued her campaign to promote the story by appearing on a few media outlets and podcasts in hopes more people will begin talking about it.
Gotcha.
So I was on a national news program at that time, and again, it's because everybody was really excited by this possibility of this weird internet thing, people are doing things not on the internet, but it came from there. So yeah, I was interviewed on the news at the time. Since then it's been covered on some podcasts and stuff, and every once in a while there's a little bitty surge of interest in this project.
Luckily for Laura, word did start getting out about this man, but unfortunately, there was one main problem that occurred near the beginning of the search. A lot of people got overexcited by trying to track down this mysterious man, leading to many Asian guys getting mistaken as Satoshi, and rather than being patient and double-checking to make sure they have the right man, they began bombarding these random people with emails upon emails, without explanation on why they were sending them.
The first time that this project kind of went viral, as it were, was when it was posted on Dig, which was a links aggregation website. There wasn't anything like Reddit. Social media like Twitter was brand new, and so just the potential spread for this kind of thing was much smaller. That poses some challenges now, because again, this is just a regular person. He's not part of the game. He's not a fictional character. And even from the very beginning, sometimes somebody would send me a tip, and so I would email a person. Maybe they didn't have a super clear photo of their face, so it's a legitimate possibility that these people could have been our Satoshi. And I would email them with an explanation and a link to the website, and they would say, "Thank you for sending me this. I've been getting emails and I have no idea why." Right? People are contacting them not explaining what's going on. And like that's just sort of not in the spirit of the game, right? It's supposed to be fun and also like kind of chill. Like it's a treasure hunt, but like there's not supposed to be that sense of urgency to the degree that it becomes harassment for people. And so like the reach of the internet is very different now. And I know that people are really excited about this kind of stuff, which is great. I just would like people to keep that in mind. Like it's a real person, and we should all try to be respectful of that.
Chill, girl.
Hello and welcome to the original podcast. I'm your host, Jamie, from the YouTube channel known as Inside a Mind. And my co-host...
Boom. Why is everything highlighted? Else. What we got on this bitch? Was it
Lucas, what's your favourite version of the Juggernaut?
I mean, it'd have to be like maybe the 90s X-Men one because the ones in the movies
That's the correct
have been
answer.
fucking awful.
Come here. Look at this. Oh, look. Why is my fucking mouth fucking wet? Acceptable. Un-motherfucking acceptable. Stop that shit.
Cain Marko, better known in the comics he hails from as the Juggernaut, is a Marvel character empowered with the ability to moonwalk through mountains. I fucking love that idea. I'm sorry, I just really like that image. Like, irresistible force, man, you can't stop him. Anyway, right. So all-encompassing is the Juggernaut's power that not even being a freakishly buff skeleton can stop him from kicking people's asses.
So people might not know much about the Juggernaut, just that
Is
he's
this
like,
from, like,
a big
the
guy.
zombies?
Yeah, he's big, he's buff, he's strong, and a lot of people, I think even in the comics, assume that he is a mutant because of his close proximity to the X-Men. But
Yeah,
no,
I assumed he was.
No, the Juggernaut's powers are actually a lot more stupid, as are a lot of comic characters' powers when you break them down. And his powers are actually derived from an ancient demon lord called Sitarak. And specifically, there's a crimson gem that harbours the power of Sitarak that Cain Marko encountered. And he agrees to have the powers of Sitarak as long as he wreaks destruction and havoc in his name. And it's really, really stupid. I'm very sorry.
I'm not a mutant. My powers are magical. And none of you mutant wimps can handle them.
All you need to know is that this ancient demon god lord is super fucking buff and OP, and that as his earthly avatar, the Juggernaut has access to basically all of his powers.
Much better than being just a mutant.
Yes, and the thing is, that reminds me of like Spider-Man, who is always assumed to be a mutant, and he keeps getting hunted by Sentinels. He's like, please leave me alone, I'm not a mutant. It's like, whenever the Sentinels are a problem in the X-Men universe, Spider-Man somehow gets roped into it. He's like, I'm not a mutant.
It's like, leave me alone, I just want to protect my neighbourhood.
So I'm trying to be a friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man, and there's just so many Sentinels in New York trying to kill me. It's like the idea someone had for how to introduce Blade into the MCU, and it's just like Steve Rogers checking his emails, and it's like in his junk folder is one from Blade saying, help, there's so many vampires. It's like, oh god, no, there's so many vampires. It's fucking, oh god, can you believe we now live in a world where we're going to have fucking vampires fighting Spider-Man?
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be great. Oh, but that Morbius trailer though.
No.
Oh, let's not talk about that. Instead, let's talk about a much better thing in the 90s, era of Marvel characters. First things first, put in the clip of the Japanese introduction to the X-Men series, because people need to know how hype that shit is.
Is it more hype than the American one?
Have you not seen it? Fucking hell. With this laptop's getting a lot of use today, fucking. I can't. God damn it. Alright, fucking YouTube. So, like, while I'm doing this, Lucas, what is the original theme to the X-Men? Like, the which won't be used in the MCU, unfortunately. You know why?
No?
Because it turns out it was ripped off of, like, a Danish TV show.
Oh, okay.
And the composer sued Marvel, and they're like, fuck it, don't use that. So, don't expect to hear that in the MCU anytime soon, but...
Or in this video.
Japanese X-Men... It's just butt rock. It's so good. He makes it so much more hype.
Right, so you say he's pretty strong.
Yes.
But how does he
I still
rank
like the OG
compared to,
better.
you know, somebody that we know, like the Hulk?
Yeah, and that's all people really give a shit
Yeah.
about Batman. It's like, whose number's bigger? And in terms of, like, raw physical strength, like, Juggernaut is up there. I don't think anyone beats the Hulk because...
He's just infinite power.
Yeah, like, his whole shtick is that no one... Like, the Hulk always gets stronger. But yeah, Juggernaut is pretty fucking beef. And there is, like, no limit to his power because he is just an avatar of Sitarak, a demon with nigh incalculable strength.
Oh my god! Juggernaut! I should have worn my white pants.
So what does this, like, Sitarak power actually do?
It completely sustains the Juggernaut so long as the Juggernaut continues to, like, you know, wreak havoc and destruction wherever he goes, which is fairly easy for a man who weighs like 3 fucking tons and walks through every wall he encounters. But yeah, it sustains to the point he doesn't need to eat, sleep, or even breathe. So you could throw the Juggernaut into space and he'll still be alive because, like, you know, the power of the demon keeps him alive.
If you're dying over and over again in space...
But he doesn't need to breathe. He doesn't need the oxygen, so he won't die in space. He'll just, like, float and be really annoyed.
And quite cold.
Yeah. No, he doesn't feel the cold either. He's completely immune to virtually every form of
Oh,
harm.
right, okay.
Yeah, so like I said, it sustains him completely. Like, he doesn't need any. It's like Superman and, like, yellow radiation, solar radiation.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need to eat, but he can. It's one of my favourite things about, like, Superman. Is like, oh man, Superman's been weakened because obviously in every TV show with Superman, you have to weaken him, and he has to go to, like, the solar radiation thing he has in the Fortress of Solitude. But I think they're doing, like, Injustice 2. Like, well, oh man, Superman's being kept in the Red Sun prison, which is my favourite idea. And on that stage, if you're not playing Superman, Superman's constantly in the background just staring at you, really pissed about it. Okay, so we're writing a story about the Justice League. First thing we need to do is write out Superman immediately because he's too good. He's too OP. What do we do?
To be fair, though, the Injustice story is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like maybe they should have made a film out of that one.
But if I know much about the Juggernaut,
Yes.
it's like that his
Showing
power
up
is
on
that he
him?
just
Oh,
can't,
showing
like,
up on
be
here.
stopped.
What's that?
Yeah, and that is like probably the most unique ability bestowed upon him by his like demonic sugar daddy, and that is something known in the comics as, I'm gonna have to get this right, irresistible force embodiment, which basically means in layman's that once the Juggernaut starts moving in a given direction, no earthly force can stop him, only slow him down. That to me is like the most interesting thing about him because that's a really unique power that is really fun when you've got a good and talented writer figuring out, okay, so how do we get someone, how do you beat someone who can't be stopped?
Right, so we talked a lot about like his powers, but where does him being a skeleton come into it?
Well, the power of like Sitarak is so all-encompassing and sustains the Juggernaut so completely that in the event he is injured, no easy feat considering like how durable he is, he will continue to fight. And this ability is like, it's so good that the Juggernaut can be burned down to a skeleton and continue fighting. And he doesn't just burn down to a skeleton, he burns down to a huge, ginormous, stomping, red, glowing sex skeleton who's like completely, like, still has all the powers of a Juggernaut and is now incredibly annoyed. I know what people are thinking because, the Juggernaut has to heal his flesh. The Crimson Gem of Sitarak will do that for him. But the Crimson Gem of Sitarak also provides the Juggernaut's outfit. So now, when he recovers, he doesn't come back as a really pissed off, 9-foot-tall, screaming naked man who then beats his opponent to death with his 3-ton Juggernaut penis.
So his outfit is demon energy?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So Lucas, you are like a big comic nerd like me, and we've discussed the Juggernaut today. And in fact, like, his powers aren't what people would expect, or they're like, a bit weirder than you may have expected as a casual fan. And so, is there any other like comic characters like that you want to discuss? Because I can, while you're thinking, I'll like open the floor with Cyclops. Because a lot of people think Cyclops, oh, he fires lasers from his eyes.
Oh,
no.
like concussive beams, aren't they?
No, it's way more stupid. His eyes are actually a portal to a dimension that nobody knows about, that apparently he can access, that is just filled to the brim with the same lasers he fires out of his eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's a conduit for another dimension. Yeah, I love that idea that no, Cyclops doesn't fire lasers from his eyes. That's way too simple. Cyclops actually has a portal to another dimension behind his eyelids that is filled to the brim with unlimited kinetic energy that flies out on his command.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. So, is there like a character like that?
I always just love how broken like the Flash is. Because the Flash isn't just a fast guy.
No, he's not fast.
He's intrinsically linked to the Speed Force.
Which is a bullshit thing they made up in the comics to explain away why he doesn't immediately catch fire the moment he runs at the speed of sound. I think the way they explain it is you have the sound barrier, you have the light barrier, the time barrier, and then the Speed Force barrier. It's like, shut up, that's so dumb. So you can't run fast enough to go through time. Stop it, Flash. Yeah. It's so dumb. And then you have like the stuff in comics like, oh yeah, actually the Flash can steal other people's speed with the Speed Force.
Yeah.
And like speedsters combine together to
It's so bullshit. Like when you actually get into the nitty gritty of like multiple Flash characters all being together, it's
and then you have stuff like the Green Lanterns. Like, oh, it just has a ring, but the ring is powered by like a giant lantern, literally a giant lantern in the middle of the universe. And then like he has to recharge the ring every day, and without the ring, he's actually got no powers whatsoever.
And that's why they have like the little mini batteries and like what?
And then you look into it and you go, well, what about people who are blind? Like, so obviously, it's like, oh, how does a blind person comprehend light? And I think there's a race of blind aliens who have their own Green Lantern oath that's about sound and about bells instead of lanterns.
What?
It's like, what? It's so dumb.
Oh, comic books.
And then you've got like Superman. You think, oh, he's just really strong. No, he's a conduit for solar radiation. And that powers him, and he doesn't actually need to eat or sleep. And he also has like a bioelectric barrier he can put around people, and it's so dumb.
I just love that time when Superman went, I need to power up, let's go sleep in the sun for a bit.
And he comes out,
just comes out of God.
He comes out as Disco Superman and makes himself like a platinum Lois Lane to have like infinite God sex with forever.
Interesting. Motherfucker slept in the sun. What the fuck? What the fuck? They posted now, I didn't see that.
Alright, so we're here at Royal Dog Academy. We're going to be shown guard dogs, how they are trained, what they are trained to do. We also have a suit here to protect us from the dogs. We are going to get bitten, they're going to jump us. It's going to be horrifying, but we're here to see the true power behind the canine.
This is Max.
Yes.
And you are?
Jocelyn and Andrea.
Andrea. So we're going to learn about bodyguard dogs and what they are capable of, how they can do it, and you're going to go first.
I'm going to go first because we both have dogs, but the thing is, if somebody broke into our homes, Chica and Spencer aren't doing anything.
Chica would rip them apart.
No, that's not
Chica's
true.
vicious. We have dogs, but his dog is tiny.
Yeah.
My dog is dopey. She probably wouldn't attack anybody.
No, she wouldn't.
But we want to know what it's like for dogs
What
that
it takes.
have jobs and are working as bodyguards. So.
Yeah. Okay. Suit time.
Sit down, please, for the floor.
Sit down. Okay.
Dare you.
This is thick, which is good.
Got it.
Big pants.
Looking thick.
Thank you.
Costume like this, very expensive, around $1,800.
$1,018. Oh.
$1,800 pants. Suit.
Full
So it's $900 pants.
No.
Okay, guys, I'm sure how work for suit, okay?
Okay.
How move, how walking, how play for role bad guys, yes? You have experience
for
play
role
role
bad
bad
guys?
guys?
Yeah.
You've been a bad guy, but
I've
you
been a
about
bad guy.
bad boy.
I've
You
been
all
bad.
been in school, roll bad guy. Yes.
Yeah, bad guy.
Okay.
Oh.
Now like this, little practice. Okay. Next.
Come to Papa.
This is protect you 100%.
On my head?
No. How you feel?
Good. Powerful. Safe.
Okay.
This is the best day of my life.
I'm bad guys.
Until that
I'm
dog comes at you.
play role and plus I'm teach bodyguard dog. My goal teach for dog effective protect owner. Did like this. Owner tell good job. I'm say I'm sorry. Finish. You play a little bit of role. Hey, how are you? What's up? Today. Oh, shit.
And then the dog comes and kills me.
What he's trying to explain is that everything's all psychological. As soon as you start to attack, the dog will attack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's teaching the dog to understand body language, like intention, the difference between like, hey, I hate you, and I'm gonna hurt you. The difference between that, right? Okay, cool. Gotcha.
That's what's up.
Yes, a smart question. If you're professional, you understand how. Yeah. How cover.
And you can call the dog off at any time, right?
In a perfect world.
No.
Okay. Cool.
No way.
Okay, now a little bit play a role, okay? People, bad guys. You have alcohol a little bit?
Alcohol?
Alcohol? For freezer alcohol? Yeah. I see. 1 second.
Alcohol? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. It's so hot.
Yeah. So I understood like 50% of what that guy said.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about my hands.
Well, he said professionals know to tuck in the hands like a turtle.
Yeah, but I'm not a professional.
Time's up.
Well, you better be.
Let's get in there. Come on,
So
champ.
learn
This
today.
is for my friend.
Shit.
Oh, for me. Thank you.
A little bit of liquid courage.
Wow.
This is good tools for teach bodyguard.
Oh.
The bodyguard dog.
It's just to basically show the dog that he smells the alcohol. He's gonna go and recognize, okay, this is a drunk person. It might be a threat.
What age do you start training the dogs at?
2.5 months.
2.5 months? Wow.
Yes.
The earlier the better.
Yeah.
So it gets the dogs prepared at an early age. It gets them to recognize good habits. If you're going out of control and I tell you sit, you have to automatically listen to me. If you don't, you'll get corrected.
And so if your dog, like my dog, is 1.5 years old and he hasn't had this training yet, is he too far gone? Or is it the old saying of it's never an old, you can teach an old dog, you can't teach, you can?
No, so you can always train a dog no matter what age. The only difference is just the amount of consistency there has to be in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Is it time?
I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Ready?
Ready?
You would like your C, maybe?
Yeah, I want to see Should I take off everything?
Yes.
He won't think this is anything threatening, right?
If a dog see you hold, yes, start control you.
Okay, so I'm not gonna do the running over to.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
like
not gonna
this.
do that.
Definitely don't do that.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's a good thing to think about. I forgot about that.
Thinking about that, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, guys, how are you?
Okay, yeah.
The dog is always recognizing your movements, staying on your left.
Are you watching this? You need to pay attention, motherfucker.
The dog can go to your spot and
Yeah, this motherfucker moving. That's how you do it. Motherfucker, you got behind me, so you can do that shit again. Come here.
the dog comes in front of you. You return the next command.
Come here.
He returns to his left.
I thought my dog.
Oh, no. You get it? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Stop. You can put the feet alone. Quit making my fucking back. Ow. God damn it. Fuck my knee up on the desk. God damn it. Mm. Come on, you come down here so I can keep an eye on you. Come here.
Was obedient.
Stay.
Охрани. Марина, охрани. 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 Down. Hey, how are you?
So he knows how to control the dog's levels of energy as well.
Thank you, good job. Sit.
He knows to protect my counter.
1 + 1.
What?
2.
1 plus 1.
2.
Really? 1 plus 1. Good job. This is 2. For you more harder. 2 plus 2.
4.
Real? 2 plus 2. Yes, this is 4. Malina, you good dog. Please, let's go, please. Mali, please come in. Good job, you coming. Good job. Are you ready? Yes, this is ready. For beat with these guys. Come. Heel. Down.
You ready to bite this guys?
I'm no recommend move.
This is crazy. He's a very smart dog. Really smart. Actually,
I don't recommend.
Dogs are this smart because he's just a well-trained dog.
Hunter instinct.
Big jump.
Who's ready
Yeah,
to try?
this is what you need to do.
I guess so,
You
yeah.
can learn.
Free. You coming? Sit down, please.
I need to get
Okay.
better.
Say come.
Come.
Say come. Heel. Pet, sit. Now dog protect you, okay? Hey, how are you? What's up? What? Oh shit. Say pet, good job. So good job.
How does
no,
he
no.
know?
You say good job.
Good job. Good job.
How about you, my friend?
Doing good.
What is my money? Why you not give? What is my money? Oh shit.
Good job.
Seyekoh.
Good job. I like this scenario.
Okay, so go play now.
Go play now.
Go play.
Go play.
Go play.
I've never felt more safe than right then in that chair. That's insane.
That's pretty cool.
That was so cool.
That's real cool.
Badass.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to point this out. If you're out in public, unless you get explicit permission from the owner, if you see a dog that has a service vest on or it looks like it's working, do not go up and distract it. Don't go up and pet it. You could probably ask the owner, but they're doing a job. Do not distract dogs. I see people all the time that have service dogs and random people just come up and make noises at the dog and go and immediately pet the dog. You don't know what that dog is doing for their job. They could be looking out for somebody having a seizure. You have no idea. So do not go and pet service dogs unless you get explicit permission from the owner.
And also, keep your dog on a leash. There are so many situations where someone has a dog and they're like, oh, my dog's friendly. That doesn't mean the other dog is too. And it's not even a case where it might be like aggressive. It might be a case where if a dog is coming up in a quick manner, it's gonna perceive that as a threat if it's been trained to do that. Dogs are living, intelligent creatures, and they can make decisions for themselves if they've been trained to do so, so just be aware.
Oh, you guys are getting in the suits.
Stay no move, I'm using I'm police dog.
Most annoying things in the world when she's got her vest on. Everybody thinks they can just fucking do what they want.
Stay no move. House. Kiss it. Heel. 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 Please. Down. Back. Down. And this thing, yes?
Boy.
You ready?
Guess so.
Hold like this. Stranger is just different, yes? No every people take guns, knife. Sometimes people, stranger, use different item. Same, you see. And what? What?
I can hit you with that fucking chair, man.
Attack.
What? Oh! Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Oh, what? What are you doing? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pet.
Tell him good. Tell him good.
Good job.
Okay. House.
House.
Good boy. Okay. You would like?
Yeah, I'll do it. All right. Suit time. I'm not afraid of the biting.
Nervous.
What I'm afraid of is the jump and how powerful he is. That's what I'm afraid of.
What's going on here?
I'm here too.
You want to be a bad guy or you want to just be a normal guy?
I'll just be a normal guy for now. I feel like a bad guy is a lot more, right?
I'll be the bad guy.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
What's up? Stay no move. I'm using a police dog. First, go. Stay. Good job, Malina. Out. Out. Sit. Heel.
Oh shit!
Heel. Down. No more.
Terrifying.
You all right?
Terrifying.
Yeah, that was more than I was expecting to happen.
Yeah.
Can I?
Good job. Good job.
Good job.
First time, good.
Yeah.
All right.
You would like?
I would
Yeah.
like to
Okay.
give it a try.
It's still like you don't feel the bite at all, but there's so much force.
Is
It's
this
crazy.
the bite of 87?
The bite of 87?
Yes, much better.
Boy.
Jesus Christ, my thick legs. This thing's exhausting just to get into.
Yeah.
Oh, my giant head.
Where did not fit. Got a big head.
Big head.
Imitate you have gone.
Damn!
One more.
Like crazy Russians, man. Oh! Shit.
Is Yorkie? You take dog for Yorkie? Okay. This is my friend. You would like to meet him?
How we going? Oh, good.
What? What are you? What? Oh shit! Oh God! Oh, come! Oh, 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 oh. Yes. Oh, ah! I'm sorry. Ah!
Better tuck that hand, boy.
Oh shit! Ow! Oh! No!
Oh, damn!
No!
Damn!
What? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What are you doing? You buy me. Buy my friend. Crazy. I'm sued you. $1 million, yes?
Okay, two.
Two.
2 million.
One me for you. Okay, let's go.
How's that, Mark?
Thank you, Marina Tel.
Bye.
Oh, thank you.
Bye. Good job.
Oh,
Damn, dude.
what a smart dog.
Yeah.
Is that your dog?
Yes.
Yeah,
How did it feel to be bit?
Oh, not that bad.
Yeah.
Probably because of the huge padding.
Yeah, but it is just so much force.
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
surprising amount, and it's jarring. Like, it's scary. Like, a
Yeah.
dog coming at you is
It's
terrifying.
really scary. I've never had a dog come at me before.
Yeah.
It's really terrifying.
This has been, like, super educational. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
like, showing us this and showing everyone at home. If you at home want to get professional dog training, Royal Dog Academy. There'll be a link in the description. The website, masterdog-training.com.
Yes.
Okay. Links in the description. Obviously, they do an incredible job here training dogs. I've never seen this level of training in my life.
Yeah.
So this is incredible. So
And they don't just do training for bodyguards too. They do just like regular training as well, right? Just
Yes.
agility
Obedience, service dog training, regular protection, and bodyguard dog training, searching, rescue.
Search and rescue, yeah. So if you want to get training for your dog,
That's what's up.
come here. I've never seen a better place.
That's
Links
what's
in the
up.
description, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Very scary dog coming at you, but
All right, I gotta go pee.
Respect for those dogs.
No, baby girl, you gonna stay here. to the left. Slide to the right. You come back over here. I can't trust you back over there behind me. Good girl. Okay. Oh, you trying to pet my hand? Huh? You trying to pet my hand, girl? The fuck? Oh, good old MX.
Alright, Genie, today we're gonna be doing a Reddit called Mad Lad. Genie, are you a mad lad? Are you a mad lad?
I'm a mad laddie.
Genie's a mad lass.
Oh yeah.
'Cause she's
I'm a mad lass. So what does a mad lass do? I need more
somebody who's. Genie's a mad lass says, I need more drinks. Starts yawning like right after in the middle of her shoot. Mad lass. Mad lass. Doesn't even regard the fact that we're trying to film a video.
I need my drink.
I do what I want.
This is how my boyfriend took care of me when I got blacked out. Lol.
11:42 p.m. When you're lit, that assignment is due at midnight. Come through for that fresh cut. Yo, safety first.
I like how he first is like, I'm gonna put a bike here. Wait, she needs to be safe.
Way to take advantage of your girlfriend to make funny meme content. You can't be mad at this if you're the girl, because it's hilarious. Would you be mad at this?
No,
Can I make memes?
Yeah, but you'll never find me in this position.
In 1992, I was 12. My dad and I were in the Newark airport. I saw Joe Pesci and recognized him from Home Alone. I went up to him to ask for his autograph. Joe asked me who my favorite actor was. I said he was. He handed me a crisp $100 and said, "That's the right answer, kid."
Damn.
Nice. What a mad lad, Genie.
What a mad lad. Joe Pesci is a major mad lad. Wait, but you never got an autograph.
Got $100 though. Mad Lad artist David DeTuna eats banana from our piece worth $120,000. Oh, I saw this one.
Is that the one that was taped up on the fucking...
Oh my god. He's gonna do it, Genie. It's $120,000. Oh,
wait,
where,
so it's his, right? It's his art piece.
Why would they cut it right before he eats the banana? Oh, it was designed so the banana could be replaced often. So the artwork is just simply a white wall that you put like bananas on. Aliens sent a message saying that they want Earth to send a video on what Earth is like. What video will you send them?
Rickroll the bastards.
Never gonna get
We're just a bunch of trolls, Genie. We're just a bunch of trolls.
It's beautiful.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
What video would you send them?
Tentacle porn of the highest order.
Well, then they're gonna want to come and invade.
True. Wait, why would they want to invade after seeing that stuff?
When I was in 9th grade, I got caught selling weed. My mom was devastated, so she transferred me to a rich private school thinking that was gonna help the situation, but in reality she gave me a promotion.
Smart. Genius.
I'm gonna say if you're in 9th grade and you're selling weed, you've got a business mind.
He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you're an entrepreneur.
Genie, stop this. Corruption of children. This is the second time you've been caught corrupting our youth. You're a doctor, Genie. You're gonna be a doctor.
Weed is legalized.
Kids, everyone go sell weed at the tender age.
Legalized!
Last night, a guy in a turtle costume grabbed the straw out of my drink, threw it on the floor, and said, "That's for my homies."
Maybe you and your homies should be like going to factories and burning them up rather than throwing a straw out of just a good old man's
that's
also,
littering.
like he said, you're littering. So isn't that like you're making it worse?
No, he's trying to avenge the turtles. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued a sea turtle entangled in bundles of cocaine off the coast of Florida. While that turtle was moving weight and hit the Coast Guard with, it got tangled up.
Yeah, that turtle was actually working for like one of the drug lords in Mexico.
Gus.
Yeah. Send the turtles and he's
Y'all
just
swear
like,
this ain't mine, man.
Yeah, this, I got caught up in it. Straws, man.
Would it be too much of a stretch to say that they taught the turtle to just swim across the ocean with the shit attached to him?
Can you train a turtle?
Yeah.
They train anything, right? Almost. Well, I mean, they train rats and all kinds of shit.
Living in the
Rats
year
are smart.
3050.
Turtles smart?
What?
What the fuck?
Is that
What does that work out?
exercising?
Exactly? He rides to battle like this, and no one dares fight him.
That's mad, Genie. What a
try this.
mad scientist. Can't wait to see this guy in the MCU. Is Kumail Nanjiani's PP multiple colors? Yes, every shade of your mom's lipstick. Oh!
Nice.
Oh, did you hear he got ripped? He got really ripped.
What?
Right? I saw this. That's why he's like, can't wait for him to be in the Marvel Comics universe as the first Indian Iron Man, you know? Wait, Iron Man's not ripped.
He's alright.
These two champs, they knew what they were doing. All this Reddit users currently tracked. K nothing 2005-66. Wow. Spez 2005-66. Third, fifth, fourth.
These fuckers know what they were doing.
What?
They deliberately wanted to fuck you over.
It's like the YouTube comments. Everyone's like first,
Yeah.
second, third, but it's like totally out of order.
Everyone is somehow first and then somehow skips to like 100th and you're like, what?
Our Mad Lads doesn't allow moving images. Me, image of movie.
Oh.
Oh!
I see what you did
What
there.
a Mad Lad!
How come Mad Lad doesn't allow moving images? Or, as we all call it, a GIF.
Motherfucker knows.
It's pronounced give.
I'm gonna kill you. Start your year off.
Ear?
Start your year off right. On December 31st at 9:50 p.m., get under your covers and fall asleep. Midnight will pass as you are deep in a peaceful slumber, and your first encounter with the new year will be waking up well rested to a morning bathed in sunlight in a day that's yours for the taking.
No, I'm going to do coke. This is the stupidest idea.
Why?
Don't you
Wait
want
for
to
that
be
egg ball to
awake
drop.
for the new year?
No, because then you start your first day groggy, tired.
Genie, this guy knows where it's at. He's really making the most out of the new year.
yeah.
I'm just kidding, kids. Don't do coke, please. Save the turtles. Think of the turtles that are being entangled right now. Shouts out to the MF who taped this in the school hallways.
Students getting constantly bullied. Kids smoking in the back of the class. Students showing mental and physical exhaustion. Schools.
Don't see shit,
Don't
fam.
see anything. Alright, but what do schools see? A kid fought back against a bully. Someone said a bad word. A kid's chewing gum in class. The kid questions the teacher's methods. Wow.
Schools.
Wait, someone actually posted all this?
I mean, they wrong.
In the school hallways?
Oh man, I wish I was still in school these days, because I feel like kids these days, their meme game is just, it's on their new level.
Their
Genie.
ballsiness, their mad ladness is like up here, you know?
Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey. I don't need to pull out any tools to see that the first one doesn't have equal RGB values. Get out of here if you're blue-gray. He has a point though, because blue-gray is not gray, Genie. You ever seen some people wrap their cars and the gray kind of looks blue? That's a really appropriate username too, Short Fuse.
Yeah, you have a very short fuse to get triggered about freaking colors.
That's not gray! There's blue in that, you fuck! It would be really cool if Twitter turned this tweet into a billboard or something.
What?
Wow, Twitter's really cool for doing that.
Damn, Twitter. How much money do you got?
This is probably why Twitter's stock is failing terribly.
Why?
Because they don't know how to spend their money right.
Yeah.
This is why people don't want to buy your stock, Twitter. True story. When I was about 9 years old, my friends and I were building a whole bunch of mini snowmen just to see how many we could make. Some jerk drove over the curb and destroyed them, laughing like the big jerk he was. We built more. He returned a few minutes later and destroyed them too. When he left, we quickly built a snowman over a fire hydrant and surrounded it with a bunch more mini snowmen. He returned and gloriously crashed his car into the fire hydrant. Modern problems require modern solutions. Yes! Hell yeah! God, I wish I was that smart when I was 9 years old,
See,
Genie.
if I were 9-year-old, I would have built a bomb, hid it in one of the snowmen, and waited for him to crash over it so he dies.
God damn. Bruh.
Genie, I really hope this story is real.
It is.
Because this brings
It
joy
is so
to my
real.
heart.
Do you know how I know? Because if you started off with true story, that's automatically makes it real.
Wow, Genie's such a mad lass. What a mad lass. Hornby straight lying. I tried seducing my teacher, and now I got court next week.
You see, you gotta seduce the judge.
He's trying to ruin this woman's life. I feel like he's trying to live out his fantasies that he's seen on certain websites.
I got you.
So no way, porn's not realistic.
got
All
you.
those films I've seen doesn't happen in real life. Are you telling me that the plumber doesn't come
Hey.
to bang my wife?
Hey.
Drawing
What
a
you doing?
penis on the inside of a
What the fuck
tie
you doing,
blanket I'm making for my uncle who hates gay people because when he sleeps with it at night, he'll be sleeping under a dick, and that's gay. What a power move, Genie. He's asserting his dominance.
Take that.
5 identical twins. I'm naming them Jif and Gif, but I'm gonna pronounce it differently. What an evil genius.
And then when you send them to school, every teacher's gonna hate the shit out of them.
Oh yeah. You know, the kid's gonna hate you. Daddy, why'd you name me Jif? I mean Gif. I mean Jif. Could be either one.
My name is Jif.
Are you Jif or you Gif?
Gif.
Buy yourself that cool thing your wife don't want you to have. Wrap it as a Christmas present and label it from Santa. She can either go along with it or ruin Christmas for the kids. Smart.
You're just like looking at your wife like, you wanna burst their bubble? Go right ahead, honey.
Genie, I'm getting myself Lego sets.
You don't need to get it for yourself. I'll get it for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Fellas, get yourself a genie. People who write your instead of your. What do you do with all the time you have saved?
Your mom.
Oh!
I got 6,900 upvotes as well.
Nice.
Midlet. What do you do with all the time you save by saying Mad Lad is midlet?
Fucking your mom.
Fucking your mom.
Counting that a fraction of a second is saved, that sounds about right.
Oh. Playing a 7-Eleven polyrhythm inside a 7-Eleven on July 11th at 7-Eleven for a 7 minutes and 11 seconds. So this is the greatest video idea that's ever been spawned.
Girl, what you
Someone
doing?
in the year 2711 do this as well.
Get out my face.
We should make a video watching 69 inside of a 69th Street building on
The 69th floor.
Alright, this one doesn't work.
At June 9th, 2069 for 6 minutes and 9 seconds.
Yeah. I'm trying to get banned in every color subreddit. Okay, so he's on the blue subreddit and he's posting red. Okay,
Wait,
but why?
thing?
Seems like a legitimate bucket list thing. Worst things about Twitter ranked. 3, the Nazis. 2, the Nazis. 1, I can't criticize Minions anymore because the guy who wrote the movie follows me and is actually really nice. Violence says you can, it's okay.
God, I fucking hate Minions. Aww.
I like that. You should all be allowed to criticize my videos. Criticize away. No hard feelings.
We'll have
Ooh,
paragraphs
that's spot on
on
there, huh?
paragraphs.
Yet another thing they should have saw coming. Hey, I love seeing cats in theaters.
I wasn't talking
That's
about you this
awesome.
time.
What was your favorite parts?
When they lost Sven.
Come again? None of the cats are named Sven.
$20 million.
Oh.
Cats movie blocked you.
Oh my god, people are so mean to cats. Holy shit, that's so savage. Even the furry community hates it. And that's the one demographic you would have thought would have accepted it. My kink is cooking in front of my friends who know which knife is made for what and forcing them to watch me use the wrong one for the wrong thing. Use a cheese
got
grater for
mentioned in the
tomatoes. You'll burn in hell
what?
for this. No, he's mad, Genie.
What'd I do?
He's
What'd I
mad.
say?
You don't use a cheese grater for tomatoes. He's crazy. He's lost his mind, Genie. This is a sin. My buddy Tom baked a cake for his Argentinian friend to cheer her up after the World Cup loss. They're no longer friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Wait, really? I would still be friends with you because you got some sense of humor, fam.
That's amazing.
That's pretty funny.
That
Come
is
on.
amazing.
That's pretty funny.
It's the cheekiness, Genie.
Yeah,
It's the
I like the
cheekiness.
cheekiness. It's adorable.
It's great.
I'd be best friends with that guy.
This morning I accidentally left my winter gloves in the library next to the computer I used to print my final paper. After handing in my final, I went back to the library to try to find them. I was told everything left in the library gets put on the free cart. Guess whose gloves were gone in 30 minutes?
Take the cart.
Take the cart.
Yeah, take the whole freaking cart. He took the cart. That's genius. I want to go back and do that now. And he did it. He took the fucking cart. Because apparently at that library, which is the
they call it
dumbest
free
system,
stuff.
in like everything gets
Who
left in
does
the
that?
library. Like, have you ever heard of a lost and found?
Mad Possum. Possum broke into an Australian bakery and ate so many pastries it couldn't move. This is how they found him. I live for this post. Do what you must, for I've already
really
won.
like that?
I mean, you could kill him, but he's lived a good life, Genie.
Exactly.
He's lived a good life. You can't take this away from him.
Hold up. That's moving around. I'm not trying to move it. I'm trying to make it bigger. Look at this motherfucker. Just laying her head on my pillow. Is that comfy? Okay. Let's get on back up, y'all. Oh shit, wrong button.
James Charles, you're next.
James
Sorry, bro. I only go for...
Hey, sisters. Sorry, bro. I only go for straight guys.
This is in regards to Logan Paul's dick sucking video.
Oh.
Did you know he sucked?
Yeah,
Sucked.
unfortunately I found out that truth and I didn't want to know.
Who told you? Yours truly, of course. In 2017, a party I threw got busted, so I put on pajamas, sprayed Axe in my mouth, covered up alcohol, and hopped in bed. When the cops knocked on my door, I pretended like I had been trying to sleep, and party was thrown without my consent. 2 out of 3 roommates got a citation. Guess who did it?
You're the dick roommate though. Leaving your 2 friends to take the blame for you?
That's really, they all should have done this, Genie.
Okay, that can't work either.
No, because it could be like their friend, you know? A kid played the Pornhub opening on the drums during a little Christmas concert. At my school, since it was the last day, we sang Christmas carols, and then the jazz band came out and played a few songs. During one of the songs, the drummer had a solo, and just before his solo ended, he snuck in the Pornhub theme, and everyone went wild. The teachers were confused as to why everyone was cheering after the solo, but this man had big balls sneaking in.
I didn't know Pornhub has a thing.
Big ball move.
This kid, big ball move.
Big dick move, sorry. Big dick energy. Big dick energy.
Big dick move, Genie.
This is big dick energy. The teachers weren't confused, they were panicked because they also very well know.
Uh-oh. There's a video of someone doing that at a jazz concert. Oh, you sneaky bastard!
Wait, did you see the sax's face?
I sung this song in German to my entire class. Fools never knew that they got rickrolled.
How does it sound like in German? Germany. Sure.
There you go, Genie.
Ich
There's your
werde
answer.
dich nie mehr aufgeben. Ich werde dich nie mehr enttäuschen. Ich werde nie mehr herrennen dich allein.
Wow, that really does sound as shit as I thought it does in my head.
포기하지 않을게.
No.
실망하지 않을게. 도망다니지 않고 상처 안 받게
Koreans, is she doing this right?
해줄게.
Is Genie bullshitting right now, or is she really rickrolling us all in Korean? I feel like she's making up. Her Korean's not that good.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. It's
Hey,
great.
I'm a
It's
face
probably correct. But little does America know, I've snuck a McGriddle over. Behold, the only McGriddle in the... They don't have McGriddles in the UK.
What's a McGriddle?
Genie! How do you not know what a McGriddle is? What's a McGriddle?
For real.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I usually get the Egg McMuffin, so I'm not sure what the McGriddle is. I think it's just a sausage one, right? How dare you sneak a McGriddle over to the UK?
How would you sneak a McGriddle?
I don't know, take it on the plane. Genie, this is dangerous. What if it, like,
You can't
unleashes...
introduce a wild McGriddle into
Yeah.
a new ecosystem.
It's a different ecosystem, Genie.
Guys,
Take over
the
then.
scones be endangered now because the McGriddles come and predated them all.
It'll replace the scone.
I know.
Genie, absolute mad. Genie, work never stops, right? The hustle never stops. Somebody Photoshop my videos onto this laptop.
And that will be Henry.
Okay, maybe Genie wouldn't like that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for making it to the end of the video.
Good old MXR.
Make sure
Who
to
the fuck disliked
leave
this?
a like. Genie, we're at 800,000 subscribers. What does that mean to you? Doesn't mean anything at all. Alright guys, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Peace. Alright, thank you so much for watching, guys.
We're going to hell. Quick before the What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? Man, all this shit. What's on trending? Bunch of garbage. It's always garbage. Ain't nobody care about all that. Pop Smoke. I don't know who the fuck Pop Smoke is. Oh shit. Little baby. Less than 50% peanuts. Okay. It's all looks like a bunch of garbage, to be honest with you. Alrighty. Tree of life is messed up. Why is it messed up? Let's figure this out. We gotta get to the bottom of this shit. Now it shows it.
In school, you likely learned about the ranks in the Tree of Life with some kind of clever mnemonic, like Dear King Philip came over for great soup. This probably gave you the impression that those ranks were pretty important.
Soup?
Fixed, unchanging steps on the path from general to
Philip came over for
specific.
good
And of
spaghetti?
course, one phylum or order must be treated the same as any other. Unfortunately, that's not true at all. That method for naming living things and sorting them into groups is called taxonomy, and it's a foundational part of
Indeed.
studying life on Earth. We use these names and ranks to understand evolutionary relationships and preserve biodiversity. But it's also more complicated than it seems on the surface. Trying to shoehorn the messy, complicated web of interrelationships that is biology into neat boxes has resulted in a pretty messy tree of life. And straightening it out is going to take time and effort. Time and effort we're going to need to put in because we might be running out of time to name organisms before they disappear forever. If you remember that King Philip
Oh, yeah.
thing, you might also remember that taxonomy got its start in the 1700s due to the work of a Swedish botanist named Linnaeus. He came up with a scheme to name and categorize life on Earth with ranked categories and binomial two-part names like Homo sapiens or Felis catus. That system, now updated to reflect our understanding of evolution, forms the basis of what's called rank-based taxonomy. It runs from the very high-level domain down through kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, with each describing more narrowly defined groups of related organisms. The names and naming process are regulated by international
There's no
codes, like the
subspecies on that list
ICZN
anymore?
or International Code
fuck?
of Zoological Nomenclature. And these groups are generally organized by describing characteristics shared within the group, which can be anything from
Well, the
having a
progress
cell
matter
wall
also,
to
aren't you
laying
gonna-
eggs with shells. In general, this works fairly well, but there are some weird quirks to doing things this way. Part of the problem arises from using a system and groups invented before Darwin, and trying to paste in evolutionary relationships over top of them. One of the ways scientists have updated the Tree of Life to reflect evolution is to try to keep groups like orders or families monophyletic. That means everything in the group is descended from a single common ancestor, and the group contains all the descendants of that ancestor. The advantage is that this system can easily and quickly tell you about evolutionary relationships. Like giant pandas are in the same family as bears, but not red pandas. So giant pandas are more closely related to a black bear than a red panda. Easy. But not all groups are monophyletic. Consider the class of vertebrates called reptilia. It includes animals like alligators, turtles, and snakes. Pretty much all of what we'd traditionally consider reptiles. In day-to-day life, it's usually not a problem to lump all of these critters together. They're all scaly, generally cold-blooded, and generally do similar things. But when we start to think in terms of evolution, things get a little trickier, because reptiles as a group are what's known as paraphyletic. In a paraphyletic group, all members of that group descend from a common ancestor, but the group doesn't contain all descendants from that common ancestor. Someone really important is missing when we talk about reptiles. Birds. Birds, which are descended from dinosaurs, are
makes sense.
actually an offshoot of the reptile family tree, and a relatively recent one. In fact, crocodiles, which we think of as reptiles, are more closely related to birds than they are to turtles, which we also think of as reptiles. And yet birds have their own class, aves. You can't have a class within a class, so birds can't be included under reptilia. This makes reptilia a paraphyletic group. So if you were simply comparing one class to another, you may not realize how close birds and crocodiles are, nor how ancient and unique turtles are. Taxonomy should ideally help us understand how life evolved, but in cases like this, it can be misleading. Incidentally, we've mostly phased out fish as a group, since in order for it to be monophyletic, we'd have to include humans, because we're also descended from the same ancestor. Over time, we've focused more and more on these systematic relationships, and we've retired some old groups when they stop making sense. But it's an ongoing process, and we still have wonky groups like Reptilia. There are also some weird problems with the idea of the ranks themselves. At the most basic level, there are tricky problems with how we define species. But there are also questions about how some of those higher order groups are organized as well, like orders or phyla. That's because there isn't an objective test for whether something should count as a class or phylum. It's not like 99% DNA match is a genus, 95% is a family, 90 is a class, etc. This can create situations where groups of the same rank aren't comparable to one another. They're not equivalent. Take Cnidaria, a group that includes critters like jellyfish and coral. Cnidaria is a phylum, a high-level rank just below kingdom. As vertebrates, our phylum is Chordata, and since they're both phyla, you might be tempted to think of them as roughly equal. Like maybe the groups are roughly as old as each other, or contain about the same amount of genetic diversity, or the same number of species. But depending on how you look at it, Cnidaria is actually a much bigger group. In fact, the genetic difference between true jellyfish and box jellyfish is about the same as between a human and a sea urchin, a group that belongs to another phylum altogether. So again, for a system that's supposed to help us understand the world, it's got some serious flaws. Now, don't get me wrong, taxonomy is really useful. Life is a continuum, and classification is a tool that we use to understand it. Without it, we'd struggle to describe the organisms around us or understand evolutionary relationships. But we've also seen some of the quirks of our current system. And those quirks can have consequences. For one, we need the insights taxonomy gives us to be able to protect the natural world. For countries or governments to make policy decisions about animal and plant species, they need to know what species are out there. Like if a national park is trying to understand the diversity of animals in their borders, it's important to know whether two populations of fish are related. Or if crops are being attacked by a new invasive species of insect, knowing exactly what species it is can help farmers, scientists, and policymakers protect the food supply. So if our systems and ranks aren't clear, it can become harder to understand these kinds of problems. And of course, taxonomy can really affect researchers too. For example, a paper published in 2016 in the journal Current Biology claimed that it's not uncommon for researchers to treat these ranks as actual biological patterns rather than human-made aids. They're there as a tool to aid our understanding, not as an absolute rule. Yet as long as they exist, the paper suggests people will be tempted to focus on them. To fix things, some researchers have proposed standardizing taxonomic ranks, like by using when different groups diverged in Earth's history as a yardstick for assigning ranks. But it's worth noting that reorganizing things can sometimes be cumbersome due to the way those rank names work. While many of the classic groups like Reptilia or Mammalia have names that wouldn't change, taxonomic convention dictates that certain categories like family or subfamily have precise suffixes. This means that by convention, if you upgrade or downgrade a group, it might need to have its name changed, and that can cause headaches for future researchers. So why not just ditch the idea of trying to classify life by characteristics, like those body plans or eggshells? Some researchers have proposed and backed a whole new system called phylocode. First published in 2000, it's based on evolutionary relationships from the get-go. So a group like Reptilia could be described as the group that contains crocodiles and turtles, but not frogs. Traditional orders and phyla would still exist as part of those groupings, but wouldn't necessarily be assigned any special rank. There have been pushback around things like how stable and useful these new categories would be in the long term, like how often they'd need to be rearranged or reclassified, as well as whether or not people could still use Latin names. Since the first draft in 2000, the idea has been updated to make things easier, but it's still a big undertaking. In the end, this problem is complicated, because we've had the old system for literally centuries, so revamping it would, well, take a bit of work. And to make things more complicated, it's work we may not be able to afford, because the biggest problem facing taxonomy today is probably a lack of resources. There aren't enough taxonomists, and they're facing serious funding shortages. A 2015 report published by the Royal Society of New Zealand, for instance, suggests that New Zealand was losing its taxonomists to a lack of investment and staff not being replaced. This is a problem, because although we've described about 1.5 million species so far, and though about 20,000 new animal species alone are described each year, it's still only a fraction of the tree of life. By one estimate, there might be at least 10 million species on the planet, and that's only considering eukaryotic species, those whose cells have a nucleus. Another study estimated that nearly 90% of those eukaryotes have yet to be described. And there are some habitats like the deep sea that are so remote that scientists find new species every time they visit. Many fields do rely on amateur collectors. Entomology, which is the study of insects, is a major example. And those folks are great to have. But to describe a species, there are a lot of things people need to keep in mind, like providing enough descriptions, potentially including illustrations, as well as making everything fit within the existing ranks. That takes time, and we're kind of on the clock. Climate change and other human activity puts us on a timer as species disappear. So it's a messy problem. To get around the lack of taxonomists, some researchers have proposed basing taxonomy not on painstaking analysis of body parts or ranges, but on DNA barcodes. For example, a 2019 paper proposed that for hyper-diverse groups of animals like parasitoid wasps, that new species be described by comparing specific DNA sequences, rather than by analyzing their bodies or homes. However, not everyone wants to do things this way. For one thing, it'd mean that you might need to have a DNA lab to investigate whether something you found is a new species, which could put taxonomic work out of the reach of amateurs or people working in less developed areas. So yeah, it's really complicated, and there's probably not one easy solution either. In the end, taxonomy is a powerful tool, and one that modern biology would not be able to function without. But some scientists have argued that it needs to change with the times, the way biology as a whole has done. Linnaeus didn't know what a gene was, and he also predated Darwin by more than a century. So while his binomial system has gotten us this far, it doesn't always reflect what we know now. Ultimately, it might be time to prune a few branches on the tree of life. Thanks for watching this deep dive, and thanks to our patrons who make it possible for us to make episodes just like this one. You guys are awesome. If you want to help us keep making SciShow, head over to patreon.com/SciShow to get started.
Okay, that's what's up. Girl, what you doing? Okay. I need to go fill her food up again real quick. Nah, baby girl, you gonna stay here. Go ahead, eat. Eat that food, girl. You know what? You know what we're gonna do right now? We're gonna change this up a wee bit. Let's see. Let's get on over here. Let's do edit stream info. Now let's get on over here. Let's categories. It's gonna be oh shit. Bang 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 bang. Okay. Let's try to full screen this, that way I can get a little better view on these motherfuckers. Excuse me. Okay, let's click that one. And then what about casual? Because we ain't trying to get all crazy. We'll keep backseat gaming on because I don't give a fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. What are we doing? What are we doing? Spring ding 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 ding. This is a good one. What's another? Yeah, fuck it, we'll leave that some bitch on there. Okay. Ring ding 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 ding. Can I not update this now? Yeah. Update that. Okay. Okay. Slide this back down. Slide this over here. Oh, I need to get on this one real quick first. So much to change, so much to do. Display.